Alright guys, we're back here on the Case 850. We got her out of the hole. It ended up being the transmission was low on hydraulic fluid, is why it wasn't going forward. We've run into a couple other problems. These hydraulic cylinders here on the front was leaking like sieves, so I went this morning, unpacked one of the cylinders and got a rebuild kit for it locally. And then one thing to look for is when we finally got it fired up, we had some issues. This is not an OEM cable here that goes to the injector pump shutoff. So when we was trying to start it up, I didn't think to check. The plunger on the dash was in, but the lever was not fully engaged. So we messed around for 10-15 minutes before we figured out that we needed to shove that shutoff forward more. Once we did, she fired up and ran like a charm. But then our next problem came up. I'd already bled the hydraulic system. It was empty, but there was some sludge in a little bit of sludge in the tank, nothing much, more rust than anything. So I took this bowl off here and then the one around back. So I did this one first and made sure we had fuel coming out. And there's a peck valve there, or peacock, whatever you want to call it. It just comes forward with this 3/8 OD outer line. I took it loose here and made sure we kept bleeding until we got good clean fuel. And this here, you unscrew it and you can actually pump up the injector pump. But anyways, we got it up and running. Drove it for probably 750 foot forward. Went back and forth, and then it started getting sluggish on me and died. Ends up being, there's quite a bit of rust in the fuel tank, so I think what I'm going to do now until I can get this to the farm is I'm going to put a bigger standoff in the tank so it don't draw up any of the rust. Long-term plan is if we can get everything good, which I think everything is good on this guy, we'll take the fuel tank off and properly clean the inside of it and coat it. But we got to get it to the farm first. So right now, this cylinder's still attached. I went ahead and got new hydraulic hoses up there on top to replace all the hydraulic hoses on the lift cylinders because I'm not too worried about the tilt and everything right now until we get it to the farm. But long run, I'm going ahead and repack all these cylinders. It's not a big job. Basically, all you have is this gland here that screws out of the housing. And we replaced the seal on the inside, wire ring and everything. And it has a new wiper on it. So I'm going to put these guys back together. Basically all I got left to do is put this piston on top of the shaft here and torque it back down with the impact. Put the cylinder back together, put some hoses on it, and then we're going to get back on that rust problem on the tank and get her back up and running. Anything y'all have questions on, don't hesitate to ask. Comment below. I'm trying to cover as much as I can, being there's not much on here, and I'm sure there's still several of these Dozers floating around. They made a little shy of 3,400 of these units, so I hope this helps someone out because I'm going from scratch and trying to figure this out. One good thing to note on this is too, when you're breaking this cylinder down, you can leave everything on the Dozer. So what I did is I took the pin loose down here to break the sleeve there. I can't remember what it's called right off the top of my head here. It's a simple name, but anyways, broke it loose with a big pipe wrench, pulled everything out, and then when I got this cylinder out, you want to make sure you don't ding this up, so I've got an old pair of underwear or something there that I'm using to cushion it. But then I reinstalled the cylinder down here, that way I could torque everything off the upper end. I'd like to see if I can get set up here putting this back together, but it's kind of inconvenient just being me, and I don't want to damage this cylinder for a YouTube video, but I can thoroughly explain after we get it put back together. Basically all I'm doing is putting the piston back on here. It's got two sides. It's got a deep side and a shallow side. The deep side will go towards the rod, and then we'll just torque it back on with that big bolt. And I'll clean all this real well before I put everything back together since I'm doing an infield piston repack. Thank you. Bye-bye.